The girl disappeared for 2 days without leaving a trace. When she returned holding hands with an Apache woman, her father ran to embrace her until he heard her whisper, "Dad, we promised to protect her." His smile faded, his fingers began to tremble, and everyone around fell into complete silence. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment where you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. The screen door slammed against the house. Ben Carter's boots thudded across the wooden porch. His heart was a wild drum in his chest. There she was, walking up the dusty path from the scrubland, his Lily. Her yellow dress was dirty, and her hair was a tangled mess. But she was there. She was alive. A woman walked beside her, holding Lily's hand. She was young, with long dark hair and braids. She wore a simple, faded dress. "Lily!" Ben's voice broke. He ran, the dry earth kicking up under his boots. He fell to his knees in front of her, his hands reaching out, trembling to touch her face, her arms. Oh, thank God. Thank God. He pulled her into a tight hug, crushing her small body against him. He smelled dust and sagebrush in her hair. He cried into her shoulder, "I thought I lost you. I thought I lost you forever." Lily did not hug him back. Her small arms stayed at her sides. She was stiff. Ben pulled back, his hands on her shoulders. He looked into her face. Her green eyes were clear and calm, too calm. "Lily, honey, are you hurt? Where were you?" Lily looked at him for a long moment. Then she leaned close. She put her small mouth near his ear. Her whisper was soft, but the words were like ice. "Dad, we promised to protect her." Ben froze. The joy in his chest turned into a cold, hard stone. He slowly looked over Lily's head at the young woman. The woman met his gaze. Her eyes were dark and serious. She gave a small, slow nod. Around her neck, on a leather cord, was a pendant. It was silver and a stone the color of the sky. It looked very old. "Mr. Carter," the woman said. Her voice was low and clear. "My name is Sarah Comta. I found your daughter in the canyon." People were coming now, neighbors who had been searching. They came out of their trucks and from the ranch house. They saw Lily and cheers went up. They started to move closer, smiles on their tired faces. Then they saw Sarah. The cheers died. The smiles faded. The crowd of people became quiet. All Ben could hear was the dry wind. He saw their eyes. They were not looking at Lily anymore. They were looking at Sarah's face. They were looking at the pendant on her neck. Old man Miller from the next ranch over took off his hat. He held it over his chest. His mouth was a thin line. "Well, I'll be," he said softly. No one else spoke. Ben stood up, pulling Lily close to his leg. He felt her small hand grip his jeans. He looked from the silent crowd to Sarah's calm face. "You found her?" he asked, his voice rough. "I did," Sarah said. "Where?" "We looked everywhere, for 2 days." "She was in a safe place," Sarah said. She did not look away from him. The land protected her. A man in the crowd, Tom Harris, who ran the gas station, spoke up. "That's an Apache pendant. My granddaddy talked about those." His voice was not friendly. It was tight and suspicious. Sarah's hand went to the pendant. She did not seem afraid. She seemed sad. Ben felt a hot rush of anger. This woman brought his daughter home. Why was everyone acting like this? But Lily's whisper echoed in his mind. Asterisk. We promised to protect her. Who was we? Who was her? He made a decision. He put a hand on Lily's back. "Thank you, Sarah Comta," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You brought my girl home. You are welcome here." He turned to the crowd. "She's home. Thank you, everyone, for your help. We need some time now." His words were firm. The ranch was his. This was his say. People nodded slowly. They began to move away, back to their trucks, but they looked back over their shoulders. Their faces were full of thoughts Ben could not read. Ben looked down at Lily. "Let's get you inside, baby. Let's get you cleaned up." He tried to smile. Lily looked up at him. Then she let go of his jeans. She walked back to Sarah. She slipped her hand into Sarah's hand again. It was a simple, sure move. "Sarah comes too," Lily said. It was not a question. Ben stared at his daughter's hand in the stranger's hand. The cold fear squeezed his heart again. He nodded slowly. "Okay," he said. "Okay." Sarah comes too." He led the way to the house. Sarah and Lily followed. He held the screen door open for them. Lily walked in, still holding Sarah's hand. Sarah paused at the doorway. She looked at Ben. "She is not lost anymore, Mr. Carter," Sarah said quietly. "But things are different now." Ben looked past her, to the last truck pulling away from his ranch, to the wide, empty land that had hidden his daughter for 2 days. He felt like he was the one who was lost. "Different how?" he asked. But Sarah just walked into his house. Ben stood alone on the porch for a moment. The Arizona sun beat down. He wiped his face with a shaky hand. Then he followed them inside, closing the door on the quiet morning. The house felt very quiet. Ben stood in the kitchen listening to the old pipes groan as the shower ran upstairs. Sarah was helping Lily wash off 2 days of desert dirt. He should be up there, he thought. He should be the one helping his daughter. But Lily had asked for Sarah. He made 3 cups of hot chocolate. He lined them up on the counter. It was a normal thing to do. He needed a normal thing. He heard footsteps on the stairs. Lily came into the kitchen first. Her hair was damp and clean, tied in a ponytail. She wore clean pajamas with little horses on them. She looked like his little girl again, but her eyes were different. They moved around the room slowly, looking at everything like it was new. Sarah followed her. She had changed into a plain t-shirt and jeans, but the pendant still hung around her neck. "I made drinks," Ben said. He put the mugs on the table. "Thank you, Mr. Carter," Sarah said. She sat down. Lily climbed onto a chair but did not touch her mug. She looked at her father. "The water in the pipes tastes sad," she said. Ben paused. "What?" "The water. It's tired. It doesn't want to be in pipes." Ben looked at Sarah. Sarah took a slow sip of her drink, her face calm. "Lily, honey, it's just water," Ben said. He tried to laugh, but it sounded wrong. "It's from the well. It's always been fine." Lily shook her head. "Our well is thirsty. The good water is farther, in the secret place." She turned to Sarah. "The spring is still singing, right?" Sarah nodded. "Yes, it still sings." Ben put his hands flat on the table. "What spring? What are you talking about?" "The hidden spring," Lily said, as if it was obvious. "Where the blue flowers grow in a circle. The mountain lion drinks there at night." A cold feeling spread in Ben's stomach. There was no spring on his land. He knew every inch of it. And there were no mountain lions this close. They were stories for up in the deep canyons. "Lily, you can't know about a spring. You were lost. You must have dreamed it." "I wasn't lost," Lily said quietly. "I was with the land." Then Sarah came. She showed me the way out of the dark hole. Ben's voice was tight. "What hole?" Sarah spoke softly. "An old mining shaft, very deep, very old. It is hidden by brush in the East Canyon. She had fallen in. I heard her." "I called and called," Lily said, looking at her hands. "But my voice just went up. Then I heard a new sound, a hum. I followed the hum. It was warm. It led me to a crack in the rock. I climbed out. That's when I saw Sarah. She was sitting by a rock, waiting. She wasn't surprised to see me." "You said she saved you," Ben said to Lily. "She did," Lily said. "But I saved her first." She looked at Sarah with a small smile. Sarah returned the look. "It is true. I was waiting for a sign. I was listening, her heart beating in that dark place. It was the sign. She led me to her." None of this made sense to Ben. It was like a puzzle with pieces from different boxes. He looked at his daughter. "Are you hurt? Does anything feel bad?" "I feel fine, Dad. Just different. I know things now." She slid off her chair. "I want to draw." She went to the drawer where they kept paper and crayons. She brought them to the table and began to draw. Ben watched her. She used a brown crayon, drawing strong, sure lines. It was not a childish scribble. It was the shape of a big cat sitting on a cliff. Its eyes were 2 careful dots of yellow. The doorbell rang. Ben jumped. He walked to the front door and opened it. Deputy Miller stood there, his hat in his hands. He was not on duty. He was just Frank Miller now, a neighbor. "Afternoon, Ben. Just checking in. How's the little one?" She's okay, Frank. Cleaned up, having a drink." Frank Miller's eyes moved past Ben, into the house. He saw Sarah at the kitchen table. His face tightened. "She's still here?" "She is. She's a guest." Frank lowered his voice. People are talking, Ben. That pendant. My granddad told stories about the families who used to live in these canyons, about promises made and broken. Strange things. You don't want trouble. She brought my girl home, Ben said, his voice harder than he meant it to be. Maybe she did, but why was she out there? What does she want? Frank shook his head. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. We don't know her. After Frank left, Ben closed the door and leaned against it. He felt tired down to his bones. He went back to the kitchen. Lily was showing her drawing to Sarah. Look, Sarah, I gave her the right eyes. Sarah studied the picture. You did. She sees everything. Who sees everything? Ben asked, coming to the table. The mountain lion, Lily said. She held the picture up for him. Her name is Kaya. She watches over the spring. She watched over me. Ben took the drawing. The cat looked real. It looked like it could step off the paper. He felt a shiver go down his back. Lily, how do you know this? Lily just looked at him with those clear, calm eyes. I just know, Dad. Since the humming in the dark. Since Sarah. Ben looked at Sarah. What did you do to her? Sarah met his gaze. She did not look angry. She looked patient. I did nothing to her, Mr. Carter. The land did something for her. It kept her safe. It showed her its heart. Now she can see it. She paused. And she can feel when it is upset. As she said this, Lily's head snapped up. She looked toward the window. She's close, Lily whispered. Who's close? Ben asked. Kaya, Lily said. She walked to the kitchen window and looked out toward the darkening hills. She's at the fence line. She's worried. Ben walked to the window and looked out. He saw nothing but shadows and brush. No animal, no movement. But Lily stood very still, watching, as if she could see something he could not. And for the first time since she came home, Ben felt truly afraid. Not of the desert, or of a stranger in his house. He was afraid that his little girl was somewhere he could not follow. Ben was fixing the fence by the north pasture. The morning sun was hot. He swung the hammer, each hit on the post a solid asterisk thwack asterisk. He liked this work. You could see the problem, a broken post, a loose wire. You could fix it with your hands. It made sense. His thoughts were not on the fence. They were on the kitchen window. The night before, he had stood there for a long time after Lily went to bed. He stared into the dark where she said the mountain lion was. He saw nothing. Sarah had come to stand beside him. She didn't speak for a while. She sees with a different eye now, Mr. Carter, Sarah had said quietly. It is a gift, but it is heavy for a child. I don't want her to have it, Ben had answered, his voice rough. I want her to be 7. I want her to be normal. Normal is a fence, Sarah had said, looking out the window. The land is not a fence. It is alive. It chose her. To refuse the gift is to refuse the safety it gave her. Ben hadn't known what to say to that. He just felt tired. Now, the sound of a smooth engine broke his thoughts. A shiny black truck, the kind that never hauled hay, came up the ranch road. It stopped near the house. A man got out. He wore a crisp shirt and clean jeans. He looked around, his eyes moving over the barn, the corral, the old ranch house. Ben wiped sweat from his forehead and walked over. Ben Carter? The man said, smiling. He held out a hand. Walter Grieger. I was in the area and thought I'd stop by. Ben shook his hand. The man's grip was firm, his skin smooth. What can I do for you, Mr. Grieger? Please, call me Walt. I represent Western Sun Mineral Development. We're doing surveys in the area. Interesting geology around these canyons. He paused, his smile friendly. I heard about your little girl. Terrible thing. Glad she's home safe. Thank you, Ben said, his guard up. This is a fine piece of land, Walter Grieger said, turning to look out at the pastures. But I imagine it's a hard go. Cattle prices, drought, the cost of everything. Ben didn't answer. It was a hard go. The roof needed fixing. The old tractor was one part away from quitting. He lay awake some nights thinking about the bills. What if you didn't have to worry about it? Grieger asked, turning back to him. What if you could give your daughter a secure future, right now? Ben crossed his arms. What are you saying? I'm saying my company is very interested in your acreage. The mineral rights, to be specific. We're prepared to make a very generous offer. Life-changing money, Ben. Enough to pay off every debt, fix everything that's broken, and set Lily up for college 10 times over. A wave of dizziness hit Ben. It was the heat, he thought, or the lack of sleep. Sell the ranch? Just the mineral rights, technically. But for an operation like ours, it's easier to purchase the land outright. You could take the money, buy a nice house in town. No more pre-dawn mornings. No more fixing fences in the 100-degree heat. Ben looked at his hands, calloused and dirty. He thought of Lily's small, clean hand in Sarah's. He thought of the worry in her eyes that was too old for her face. A house in town, safety, stability. How? How much? He heard himself ask. Walter Grieger named a number. It was so large Ben's mind couldn't hold it. It was like being told the price of the sky. The screen door slammed. Lily came out onto the porch. She had a piece of paper and a crayon. She sat on the top step to draw. And that must be the young lady, Grieger said, his voice warm. Hello there. Lily looked up. The moment her eyes met Grieger's, her face changed. She dropped her crayon. Her small hands flew to her temples. Dad? Her voice was thin, scared. Ben was at her side in 3 long strides. Lily, what's wrong? My head. It's pounding. She squeezed her eyes shut. It's too loud. The bad hum. Sarah appeared in the doorway. She looked from Lily's pained face to Walter Grieger. Her own face became still, her eyes sharp. She said nothing. Maybe the sun is too much for her, Grieger said, and taking a small step back. After her ordeal, Ben picked Lily up. She buried her face in his neck, her little body tense. I need to take her inside. Of course, Grieger said. He pulled a business card from his shirt pocket. Think about what I said, Ben. That offer is good, but not forever. Talk to your neighbors. Some of them are already on board. It's progress. It's the future. He placed the card on the porch railing. I'll see myself out. Ben carried Lily into the cool, dark living room and laid her on the couch. Her breathing was quick and shallow. Get a wet cloth, please, he said to Sarah, his voice tight. Sarah brought the cloth. Ben placed it on Lily's forehead. Slowly, her breathing began to slow. The tight lines on her face softened. Is it gone? Lily whispered, her eyes still closed. Is what gone, honey? The man, the digging man. His thoughts are so loud, they scratch. Ben looked at the door, then at Sarah. Sarah was watching Lily, her expression grave. He is just a man, Lily, Ben said, but his voice lacked conviction. He wants to cut open the earth, Lily murmured, drifting into sleep. He wants to make the heart stop beating. Ben sat on the floor beside the couch, the weight of the man's offer and his daughter's words crushing him. He looked at Sarah. What is happening to her? Sarah knelt beside him, her voice low. The land speaks to her. It speaks of a threat. That man is a threat. She looked toward the door where Walter Grieger had been. His money is a shovel. He wants to dig, and she feels the wound before it is even made. Ben stared at the business card on the table, its crisp white edges stark against the worn wood. One choice was a number so big it could erase all his practical fears. The other was his daughter, sick from a bad feeling, talking about the heart of the land. He felt the two things pulling him apart. He needed answers that a hammer and nails could not fix. The words on the old paper swam in front of Ben's eyes. He sat on the attic floor, dust floating in the thin light from the single bulb. The box was plain, made of dark wood. His father had called it Granddad's old paperwork. It had sat up here, forgotten for years. Ben had come up here looking for anything to distract him from Walter Grieger's offer and Lily's pain. He thought he might find old tax records, a clue about the land's value. He found something else. The paper on top was the deed. It was official, with stamps and signatures. It said the land belonged to his great-grandfather, Elijah Carter. That he knew. Underneath were letters. The paper was brittle and yellow. The handwriting was careful and sloping, done in faded ink. Ben picked up the first one. It was dated June 12, 1924. Asterisk. Dear Elijah, our families have sat together under the sun. We have shared water from the same cup. We have made a promise. The spring in the high canyon is not for one man. It is the heart of this place. Your word is given. My word is given. The word of Red Hawk of the Apache is given. We three will guard it. We will tell our sons. They will tell their sons. No machine will touch it. No pipe will take all its water. The heart must beat for all life here. If the heart stops, the land dies. This is our promise. Your friend, Thomas Bigay, Navajo. Ben's hands felt cold. He read the letter again. Then he read another. Asterisk Elijah, the man from the mining company, came again. He offered more money. I told him no. He asked why we would not sell the rights to the canyon. I said it was not ours to sell. It is held in trust. Remember your promise. Do not let your sons forget. Thomas Bigay, asterisk. The third letter was different. The handwriting was the same as the first, Elijah's, but it was not sent to anyone. It was like a diary entry. Asterisk. I have done a bad thing. The drought is terrible. The cattle are thirsty. I took the men to the spring. We dug a small trench. We led some of the water to the lower pasture. It saved the herd. I told Thomas Bigay what I did. He was angry. He said I broke the promise. He said the trust is broken. He and his family are leaving this place. Red Hawk's family is gone already. I am alone with my secret. I will not tell my son. Let him think the water just comes from the ground. The promise is over. Ben put the letter down. His breath was loud in the quiet attic. A promise, a hidden spring, a broken trust. His great-grandfather wrote the words. His own grandfather and then his father had never spoken of it. They used the water. They kept the secret. They broke the promise. The water in the pipes tastes sad. Lily's voice from yesterday echoed in his mind. She knew. Somehow she knew about the spring his family had stolen from. He gathered the letters and the deed. He climbed down the attic ladder, his legs stiff. He walked into the kitchen. Sarah was at the table showing Lily how to weave thin strips of leather into a simple braid. Sarah looked up. She saw the old papers in his hands. She saw his face. Her hands stilled. You found it, she said quietly. It was not a question. Ben dropped the papers on the table. You knew about this? I knew there was a promise. I knew it was broken. My grandmother's mother was the sister of Red Hawk. The stories were passed down. The spring was guarded. Then the water changed. The spirit of the place grew quiet. We knew the Carters had taken the water for themselves. Ben pointed to the letters. He said he was alone, that the other families left. They left this canyon, Sarah said. They did not leave the memory. The memory is carried. I carried it here, to see what was left. Lily touched the edge of the oldest letter. This is the promise, she said softly. The one that got broken. It's like a cut that never closed. Ben sat down heavily. So what does it mean? It happened 100 years ago. It's done. Sarah shook her head slowly. No, a promise to the land is not done. It is alive, like a seed in the ground. It waits. Your daughter fell into the dark. The land remembered the promise. It called to her. It showed her its heart because your family forgot. It chose a new guardian from your blood. Ben felt a headache building behind his eyes. Lily is 7. She's not a guardian. These are old stories. The man who is here today is not an old story, Sarah said, her voice firm. His machines are real. His money is real. The spring is real. My pendant is real. She touched the silver and turquoise at her neck. This was Red Hawk's. It is a marker of the promise. Your daughter saw it and knew. The people in your town saw it and remembered the old fear. The past is not behind us, Mr. Carter. It is under our feet, and it is awake. Lily looked from her father to Sarah. We have to fix the cut, Dad. We have to keep the promise now, so the heart beats strong again. Ben looked at the deed for his land. He thought of Walter Grieger's number. He thought of his great-grandfather's secret guilt. He thought of his daughter's clear, worried eyes. All of it was tied together by a thread of water from a spring he had never seen. The phone on the wall rang, sharp and loud. Ben jumped. He walked over and picked it up. Hello? Ben, it's Frank Miller. The neighbor's voice sounded strange. Listen, that fella Grieger stopped by my place too. And the Owens. He's making the rounds, talking big numbers. A lot of folks are listening hard. You think about selling, you might want to decide soon, before this whole town gets bought out from under you. Ben hung up the phone. He didn't speak. He just looked at the two of them at his table. The woman from the past, and the daughter who could feel the land's pain. The walls of his kitchen, which had always felt like a shelter, now felt thin. The world outside, with its money and its machines and its old broken promises, was pressing in, and he had nowhere left to hide from it. The argument with Frank Miller on the phone had been short and hard. Ben's knuckles were white where he gripped the receiver. After he hung up, the silence in the house felt heavy. He could feel Sarah's eyes on him from the kitchen table, but he didn't turn around. He just walked outside into the cool night air. He needed to check on the horses. It was something to do. The motion sensor light on the barn flicked on, casting a harsh white circle on the ground. He filled water buckets, his movements stiff. The offer, the letters, the promise. It all swirled in his head, a storm with no clear way out. He was putting a halter away when a sound froze him. It was not a coyote. It was low, deep, and close. A guttural cough that ended in a soft, rumbling growl. It came from the darkness just beyond the fence line. Ben's blood went cold. He turned very slowly. The motion light did not reach that far. He saw only black shapes of brush and rock. But he felt it. Something was out there, watching. He backed up slowly until he felt the rough wood of the barn door behind him. He slipped inside and closed the door, latching it. His heart hammered against his ribs. He peered out a small, dirty window. At first, nothing. Then, a movement. A shadow detached itself from the other shadows. It was long and low to the ground. It moved with a fluid silence that made the horses in their stalls shift nervously. It stepped into the very edge of the light. The mountain lion was bigger than he had imagined. Its coat was a tawny gold. It sat down on its haunches, just outside the fence. It did not look at the barn. It did not look at the horses. It lifted its head and looked directly at the ranch house, at Lily's window. Ben stood still, barely breathing. The animal was real. It was here. He left the barn and walked quickly to the house. He opened the back door and stepped inside, locking it behind him. Sarah was still at the table. A single lamp was on. She looked up. "It's out there," Ben said, his voice rough. "The mountain lion, at the fence." Sarah nodded slowly as if he had told her the time. "She is watching." "Why? Is it a threat? To the horses? To Lily?" Ben's mind raced with practical dangers. "No," Sarah said. "She is not a threat. She is a witness. She is worried." "How can you know that?" Before Sarah could answer, soft footsteps came down the stairs. Lily appeared in her nightgown. She walked to the big window in the living room that looked out toward the barn. She pressed her small hands against the glass. "You see her, Dad?" Lily asked, her voice a whisper. Ben came to stand beside her. He could barely make out the shape in the dark. "Yes, I see her." "Her name is Kaya," Lily said. "She is sad. She is thirsty. The spring song is getting quieter. She can hear it fading." Ben looked down at his daughter's calm, upturned face. "Lily, how do you know what a mountain lion is feeling?" Lily thought about this. "I just know, since I came home. It's like when you smell rain before it comes. I feel her worry." Sarah joined them at the window. "The spirit of the land has many parts, Mr. Carter. The spring is its heart. The mountain lion is its eyes, its protector. They are connected. When one is hurt, the other feels it." "And Lily?" Ben asked, the question hanging in the air. "When Lily was in the dark place, the land found her," Sarah said, watching the child. "It shared its breath with her to keep her safe. It opened her eyes. Now she is connected too. She is part of the pattern. She feels what the land feels. She hears what Kaya hears." Ben remembered Lily clutching her head when Grieger was near. "So when she gets sick, it is the land's pain she feels," Sarah finished. "The mountain lion grows restless for the same reason. A great hurt is being planned. They both sense it." Lily turned from the window and took her father's hand. Her hand was warm and small. "We have to help Kaya, Dad. We have to make the spring song loud again. Then she won't be sad. Then the bad hum will go away." Ben looked from his daughter's earnest face to the silhouette of the powerful animal sitting in the dark. A week ago, his world was fences and feed bills and weather. Now it was filled with ancient promises, spirit animals, and a little girl who felt the earth's pain. The two worlds crashed together in his mind, and he didn't know how to make them fit. "I don't know how to do that, Lily," he said, his voice tired. Sarah's voice was quiet but clear. "You must see it first. You must see the heart you are being asked to protect. You have read the words on the paper. Now you must see the place they wrote about." Ben knew what she meant. She meant the spring, the secret, the source of all the trouble. Outside, the mountain lion stood up. It gave one last, long look at Lily's window. Then it turned and melted back into the night, as silent as a shadow. The witness had seen what it needed to see. The choice was now his alone. The sky was just turning from black to gray when Ben pulled on his boots. Lily was already dressed, her small frame buzzing with a quiet energy. Sarah waited by the door, a simple canvas bag over her shoulder. No one spoke much. The plan was made. They walked out into the cool, pre-dawn air. Instead of heading for the truck, Sarah turned toward the east pasture, toward the rough canyon lands. "It's faster on foot," she said. "The land is not like the smell of engines there." They walked in single file, Sarah leading, then Lily, then Ben. The desert was quiet. The only sounds were their footsteps and the distant cry of a bird. They moved away from the grazing land, into a landscape of jagged rocks and stubborn, thorny plants. Ben knew this area, but only from the edge. It was too rough for cattle, too steep for anything useful. Lily walked without hesitation, her small shoes finding safe places on the stones. She didn't need to be shown the way. After an hour of walking, the sun began to warm the air. Sarah stopped before a wall of rock that seemed solid. A giant tumble of boulders lay at its base. "Here," she said. Ben looked around. "Here what?" "It's a dead end." Sarah walked toward the rock wall. She slipped between two large boulders, a space so narrow Ben hadn't even seen it. Lily followed her easily. Ben took a deep breath and squeezed through after them. On the other side was a hidden canyon. It was not large. The walls curved around like two protective arms, and in the center, surrounded by green grass and vibrant blue flowers, was a pool of water. It was not a big spring. The water bubbled up clear and bright from a crack in a flat stone, filling a natural basin before trickling away in a tiny stream that vanished into the earth. The air here was different. It smelled clean and alive. Bees hummed around the flowers. A small bird dipped its beak into the water. Ben stood still. He had never seen this. In all his years, on all his land, he never knew this was here. Lily let go of Sarah's hand and ran to the water's edge. She knelt down and placed her palm on the surface, then put her fingers in her mouth. She smiled. "It tastes happy now, because we're here." Ben walked forward slowly. He crouched down beside the pool. He could see every stone at the bottom. The water was so clear it looked like air. He dipped his hand in. It was cold, a deep, refreshing cold. "This is it?" he asked, his voice hushed. "This is what the promise was about?" "This is the heart," Sarah said, standing behind him. "The water does not come from a deep underground pipe. It comes from the living rock. It feeds the roots of the plants you see. The animals drink from it. The birds, the insects, the mountain lion. It is one small, clean beat that keeps this whole place alive." Ben looked at the tiny stream. He thought of the trench his great-grandfather had dug. He followed the trickle with his eyes until it disappeared under the dry earth. A terrible understanding began to dawn on him. "Our well," he said slowly. "The one that waters the house and the main pasture. It's downhill from here, isn't it?" Sarah nodded. "Your well drinks from this spring's child. The water that feeds your home is born right here. What happens here happens to you." Lily sat back on her heels. "The bad man's machines, Dad. They would dig deep holes. They would use loud poisons to find the special rocks. The poisons would get in the water here first. The happy song would stop. The heart would stop beating." Ben pictured it. He saw the bulldozers in his mind, tearing through this hidden canyon. He saw the chemical smell, the mud, the silence where the bees now hummed. He saw his well water turning bad. He saw Lily, sick all the time. He stood up. The practical part of his mind fought back. "But the money, Sarah, it could give Lily everything, a safe life." Sarah looked at him, her dark eyes steady. "What life is safe without clean water? What life is safe when the land under your feet is poisoned? What life is safe for a child who is tied to that land's pain? The money is a flash of light, then it is gone. This," she gestured to the spring, "is forever, or it is nothing." A shadow moved on the canyon rim above them. Ben looked up. The mountain lion, Kaya, was there. She lay on a sunny ledge watching them. She was not tense. She was just watching, as if waiting to see what they would do. Ben looked from the lion to the spring, to his daughter's hopeful face, to Sarah's patient one. The two choices were no longer just ideas in his head. They were right in front of him. One choice was a stack of paper money in a man's shiny truck. The other choice was this single, perfect pool of water and everything that flowed from it. He had spent his life trying to fix things he could see and touch. For the first time, he saw the true problem. And for the first time, he felt completely unequipped to fix it. What do I do? The question left his lips, quiet and raw, directed at no one and everyone. Lily got up and came to him. She took his big calloused hand in both of her small ones. "You keep the promise, Dad. You just do." He looked down at her, then out at the heart of his land, beating softly under the morning sun. The walk home was going to feel much longer. The trouble started at the White Creek General Store. Ben went in for nails and coffee. He felt the eyes on him as soon as he opened the door. Marty Owens was at the counter talking to Frank Miller. They stopped talking when Ben walked in. The air felt thick. "Ben?" Frank said with a short nod. "Frank, Marty." Marty Owens cleared his throat. "Heard you had a visit from that mining fella, Walter Grieger." "I did," Ben said, picking up a can of coffee. "He came by my place too," Marty said. His voice was eager. "The offer he made, it's a fortune, Ben. A straight-up fortune. My boy could come home from the city with a real job. We could finally fix up the old house." Frank Miller leaned on the counter. "He gave a talk at the community center last night. You weren't there." "I was busy," Ben said, though no one had told him about it. "He showed pictures," Frank said. "Clean equipment, good-paying jobs, a community fund. Said the disruption would be minimal. He called it responsible progress." A lot of folks were listening. Ben put the coffee on the counter. "And what about the land, Frank? Your family's been here as long as mine." Frank's face hardened. "The land is dust and rock, Ben. My granddad told stories, sure, but stories don't pay the doctor. This town is drying up. This is a lifeline." The bell on the door jingled. Sarah walked in, holding Lily's hand. They had been waiting outside. The store went completely silent. Marty Owens stared at Sarah's pendant. He looked away, uncomfortable. "That's the one, isn't it?" he muttered to Frank, not quietly enough. Sarah pretended not to hear. She picked up a bag of flour. Frank looked at Ben, his voice low. "People are saying things, Ben. They're saying she's put ideas in your girl's head, that she's here to stir up old claims on the land, that she's why you're hesitating." Ben felt a heat rise in his chest. "She brought my daughter home. That's all you need to know." "Is it?" Frank pressed. "Or is she filling your head with promises about sacred springs and mountain lion spirits? Grieger says those are just tales to scare people off valuable resources." Lily tugged on Ben's sleeve. "Dad, can we go?" Before Ben could answer, old Mrs. Preston came down the aisle. She was in her 80s, her face a map of wrinkles. She stopped and looked at Sarah for a long time. Then she looked at Lily. "You look just like your great-grandmother Elsie," Mrs. Preston said to Ben, her voice thin but clear. "But you have his eyes, Elijah's eyes." Ben was startled. "You knew my great-grandfather?" "I was a girl. I remember the arguments," she said. Her gaze drifted to Sarah's pendant. "I remember when the Apache family left, and the Navajo family. There was a lot of shouting. My father said Elijah Carter made a bad bargain and broke a good one." She patted Lily's head. "The land remembers, child. It surely does." Then she shuffled away, as if she hadn't just dropped a stone in the still water. Marty Owens looked uneasy. Old people's memories, they get mixed up. But Frank Miller was staring at Ben, a new thought dawning on his face. "What's she talking about, Ben? What bargain?" "Nothing," Ben said too quickly. He paid for his things, his hands clumsy. "Let's go." Outside, the sun was too bright. Ben helped Lily into the truck. Sarah got in the passenger side. No one spoke. As they drove down the main street, Ben saw a new sign in the window of the closed-down diner. It said, "White Creek Renewal Project Community Meeting Tonight." Underneath, in smaller letters, "Western Sun Mineral Development." People were gathered around it. He saw Tom Harris from the gas station, pointing at the sign and smiling. He saw Betty from the post office, her arms crossed, shaking her head. Two friends, standing on the same sidewalk, looking at the same sign, but they were a million miles apart. That night, Ben sat on his porch. He could hear Lily laughing inside. Sarah was teaching her a clapping game. The sound was normal and happy, but it felt fragile. He thought about the divided street. He thought about Frank's distrust and Marty's hope. He thought about Mrs. Preston's memory. He thought about the spring, hidden and beating. He was not just choosing for his family. His choice would rip the town in two. If he said no, he would be denying his neighbors their lifeline. They would blame him. They would blame Sarah. The anger would come to his doorstep. If he said yes, he would be poisoning the heart of the place they all lived in. He would be breaking the promise for everyone, even those who wanted him to. He was in the middle, and from where he sat there was no way out that didn't hurt someone. The weight of it pressed down on him, heavier than any bale of hay he'd ever lifted. He was alone with a decision that felt too big for one man to make. The community meeting had been worse than Ben expected. He didn't speak. He just stood at the back and listened. Walter Grieger was smooth. He talked about new roads. He talked about a new school gym. He talked about steady paychecks. People asked a few questions about noise, about dust. Grieger had calm answers for everything. He called the concerns small bumps on the road to prosperity. When someone, an older man Ben didn't know well, asked about water safety, Grieger smiled. "We use state-of-the-art closed-loop systems. The water table will be perfectly protected. I give you my word." Ben had left before it was over, a sick feeling in his stomach. The man's word. 2 days later, Walter Grieger's truck was back at the ranch. This time, he had papers. "Just a standard land survey agreement, Ben," Grieger said, spreading the documents on the hood of his truck. "Let's my geologist take a preliminary look. No commitment from you yet, but it shows good faith. It gets the ball rolling for when you say yes." Ben stared at the papers. The numbers from the offer still danced in his head. He thought about the new roof. He thought about Lily's college. He picked up the pen. That's when Lily screamed. It was a sharp, pained sound from inside the house. Ben dropped the pen and ran. He found her on the living room floor. She was curled on her side, holding her stomach. Her face was pale and sweaty. "Lily, what's wrong?" "It hurts, Dad. Everything aches." Her breath came in short gasps. "The bad hum, it's so loud. It's scratching inside my ears." Sarah was already there, kneeling beside her. She placed a hand on Lily's forehead, then looked toward the door, where Walter Grieger stood looking in with polite concern. "The papers," Sarah said, her voice like cold steel. "She feels the mark of the pen on the land. She feels the intention to cut." Ben gathered Lily into his arms. She was trembling. "It's okay, baby. It's okay. I'm not signing anything." He carried her upstairs to her bed. He sat with her, holding her hand until the sharp pain faded into a deep tiredness. She fell into a fitful sleep. When he came back down, his face was grim. Walter Grieger was still there, his smile gone. "Is the little one all right? Maybe she needs a doctor in the city. The money from the sale could get her the best care." "She doesn't need a doctor in the city," Ben said, his voice low. "She needs you to leave." Grieger's friendly mask slipped for just a second. He looked annoyed. "Ben, be reasonable. This is a business opportunity. A little girl's tummy ache shouldn't—" "Get off my land," Ben said. He took a step forward. He was a tall man, used to hard work. Grieger took a step back. "You're letting superstition make your choices, Ben. That's a shame. For you and for this town." He gathered his unsigned papers. "The offer won't last forever." After the truck drove away, the silence felt bruised. Ben walked out to the porch. Sarah joined him. "She is connected to the spring," Sarah said quietly. "The spring is the heart. When someone makes a plan to stick a knife in that heart, she feels the first chill of the blade." As if to prove her words, a sound cut through the evening air. It was the mountain lion's scream, but it was not from the distant hills. It was close, too close. Ben and Sarah turned. Kaya stood at the edge of the yard, near the old cottonwood tree. Her tail whipped back and forth. She didn't look at them. She paced. 3 steps one way, 3 steps back. She was a picture of pure, trapped unease. Then she lifted her head and screamed again, a sound of raw frustration that made the hair on Ben's arms stand up. "She feels it too," Sarah said. "The threat is no longer just an idea. It is a man with papers. The land is afraid. Its protector is angry." Ben watched the powerful animal pace. He thought of Lily, white-faced on the floor. He thought of the clear water in the hidden canyon. He thought of his great-grandfather's guilty secret. The last piece of his stubborn doubt crumbled. This was not a coincidence. This was not a child's imagination. The pain was real. The cause was real. "She's sick because of him," Ben said, not asking a question anymore. "Because of what he wants to do." "Yes," Sarah said. Ben nodded slowly, his eyes still on the restless mountain lion. The practical man inside him finally had a problem he could understand, a threat to his child's health. And he knew, with a cold certainty, exactly what he needed to do to stop it. The call came just after breakfast. Walter Grieger's voice was smooth, but it had no friendliness in it now. "Ben, I need your answer. Today." Ben held the phone tightly. He looked at Lily, who was coloring at the kitchen table. She looked better this morning. The color was back in her cheeks. He looked at Sarah, who watched him, waiting. "My answer is no," Ben said. The words felt solid, like a stone placed on the ground. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "That is a very expensive no, Ben, for you, for your town. The land is not for sale. The mineral rights are not for sale. We're done talking." Grieger's voice turned cold. "You're making a mistake. The wheels are already in motion. The town wants this. I'll get what I need, with or without your signature. You'll just get nothing." The phone went dead. Ben put the receiver down. His hands were steady. For the first time in days, his mind was clear. The fear was still there, but it had a direction now. He was protecting his child. It was a job he understood. He spent the day doing normal things. He fixed a hinge on the barn door. He checked the horses. He did not look at the phone. He did not look down the road. As the sun set, turning the sky orange and purple, the dogs started barking, not their usual bark at a rabbit. This was a deep, warning sound. Ben walked out onto the porch. 2 dusty white trucks with the words "Western Sun Surveying" on the doors were coming up his road. They did not stop at the house. They drove past it, toward the east pasture, toward the canyon. Ben did not hesitate. He grabbed the keys to his own truck. "Sarah, Lily, with me." They drove fast, kicking up a cloud of dust. Ben caught up to the 2 trucks just as they were parking at the edge of the rough scrub land. 4 men got out. They wore heavy boots and hard hats. One carried a case of equipment. Ben pulled his truck in front of theirs, blocking the way. He got out. "This is private land," Ben said, his voice loud in the quiet evening. "You need to leave." One of the men, a big man with a thick mustache, stepped forward. "We have a right to preliminary survey. We're not on your deed yet, but we have permits for the county land. We're just passing through." "You're not passing through anything," Ben said. "You turn around." Sarah and Lily got out and stood beside Ben. Lily held Sarah's hand, but she stood straight, looking at the men without fear. The big man smirked. "This the Apache woman causing all the fuss? And the kid? Listen, mister, you're outnumbered. Just step aside. This is happening." The men started to walk forward, around Ben's truck. "Stop," Ben said, planting his feet. He was 1 man against 4. He knew he could not win a fight, but he would not move. Suddenly, a low growl rolled out of the gathering darkness. It was so deep it vibrated in the air. Everyone froze. From behind a cluster of rocks, the mountain lion emerged. Kaya. She did not run. She did not hide. She walked forward with a slow, powerful grace and sat down on the path, directly between the men and the direction of the hidden spring. Her eyes glowed in the last of the light. She bared her teeth, and another growl, louder this time, rumbled from her chest. The men stumbled back. The one with the equipment case dropped it with a clatter. "What in God's name?" the big man whispered, his face pale. "She is the protector of this land," Sarah said, her voice calm and clear. "She says you will not pass." One of the other men fumbled for something in his truck. "I've got a rifle." "You fire that gun," Ben said, his voice ice, "and I will make sure you never work in this state again. You are trespassing. You are threatening my family. And now you want to shoot a protected animal on my property? Get in your trucks, now." The mountain lion took 1 step forward. She did not blink. That was enough. The men did not argue. They scrambled into their trucks, turned them around with frantic moves, and sped back down the ranch road, their headlights cutting wild shapes in the dust. Ben let out a long, shaky breath. He turned. Lily was looking at Kaya, a small smile on her face. Sarah nodded at the great cat, a look of understanding passing between them. Kaya looked at Ben. For a moment, their eyes met. Then she turned, and without a sound, disappeared back into the night. The immediate threat was gone. The quiet returned, but Ben looked down the dark road where the taillights had vanished. He knew men like Walter Grieger did not give up. They came back with lawyers, with police, with more pressure. He had won this night. But the war for his home, for the spring, for his daughter's future, was just beginning. The story of what happened at the Carter Ranch spread through White Creek Canyon before the sun was even up. It was not just the story of Ben standing his ground. It was the story of the mountain lion that stood with him. Frank Miller was the first to come over the next morning. He did not call first. His truck rolled up and he got out, his hat in his hands. Ben stood on the porch, waiting. "Saw the survey trucks leave in a mighty hurry last night," Frank said, not meeting Ben's eye at first. "Heard some of it from the Owens boy who was out late. Said he heard a lion scream like he's never heard before." "It was on my land," Ben said simply. Frank finally looked at him. "My granddad, he told me a story once. Said when he was a boy, a mountain lion chased off some men who were trying to dam the creek. He said it wasn't acting like an animal. It was acting like a sentry." He shuffled his feet. "I called Mr. Grieger this morning. Told him I was pulling my support. My land isn't for sale either." One by one they came, not everyone, but many. Marty Owens came, looking ashamed. "My wife, she read me the riot act. Said we weren't raised to poison our own water for a quick dollar." Betty from the post office brought a pie. Old Mrs. Preston just nodded from her nephew's car as they drove slowly by. The town was remembering who they were. They were people who lived with the land, not just on it. 2 days later, Walter Grieger's black truck came up the road one last time. A small group of people had gathered at Ben's place, neighbors. They stood silently behind Ben on the porch. Grieger got out. He did not smile. He looked at the people, then at Ben. "You've turned them against progress, Ben. That's quite a trick." "They turned themselves," Ben said. "They just needed to remember what they'd be losing." Grieger's eyes flickered to Sarah, who stood in the doorway. "This is about her, isn't it? Old superstitions." Sarah stepped forward. "It is about a promise that is 100 years old. It is about water that is clean. It is about a child who gets sick when the land is threatened. These are not superstitions, Mr. Grieger. They are facts. You are the one selling a story that ends with a silent spring." Grieger's coolness finally cracked. "You have no idea what you're throwing away. This is the future." "No," Lily's small voice said. She walked out and stood beside her father, clutching his hand. "The future is the spring. The future is Kaya. The future is right here." As if hearing her name, a movement caught everyone's eye. On the far ridge, clear in the afternoon sun, the mountain lion stood. She was not pacing. She was not growling. She was just standing, watching, calm. A murmur went through the small crowd. Grieger saw it. He saw the people's faces, full of a respect that had nothing to do with money. He knew he had lost. "You'll regret this," he said quietly, but the threat had no power left. He got in his truck and drove away, for good. The weeks that followed were quiet, but a good quiet. Ben, Sarah, and Lily went to the spring often. They did not take from it. They simply sat. They listened to its quiet song. Ben started reading the old letters to Lily at night. He told her the story of Elijah and Thomas Bigay and Red Hawk. He told her about the promise broken and the promise kept again. One evening they were at the spring. Lily was threading blue flowers into a chain. Sarah was repairing a small leather pouch. Ben was just sitting, watching the water bubble. "The deed," Ben said to Sarah. "I've been thinking. I want to add a note to it, a covenant, so that anyone who ever owns this land next will know about the spring, will know about the promise." Sarah nodded. "That is a good thing. The promise must be told, so it is not forgotten again." Lily finished her flower chain. She walked over and placed it gently on the surface of the water. The flowers floated in a perfect circle. "There," she said, "a gift for the heart." That night, from her window, Lily saw Kaya on the ridge. The mountain lion lay peacefully, her head on her paws. She was not watching with worry. She was just resting. The land was at peace. Ben tucked Lily into bed. She was not sick anymore. Her eyes were bright, just a 7-year-old girl's eyes again, but with a deep, quiet knowing behind them. "Good night, Dad," she whispered. "Good night, Lily. Sweet dreams." "They are," she said and closed her eyes. Ben walked downstairs. Sarah was on the porch, looking at the stars. He stood beside her. "Thank you," he said, "for bringing her home, for helping me see." Sarah smiled, a true warm smile. "You did the seeing, Mr. Carter. I just reminded you where to look." Inside, the old ranch house was quiet and safe. Outside, the land stretched out under the moon, alive and breathing. The heart was beating strong and clear. The promise, once broken, was now held in the hands of a man, a woman, and a little girl, and it would not be forgotten again.